I was hungry and you fed me. I was sick and you ministered to me. I was in prison and you visited me. Had nothing and you clothed me. You know, when I read that, I said, you know, that's going to be the final question we're asked. That means that we don't just come and we just sort of baptize people and leave. We don't just come and, you know, hand out some clothes and leave. What that means is that we come and these people become our people.
People have often asked, why are you out there? Certainly, why are you out there for so long? We thought you were going to go for 6 years. And in our weak moments, we have to ask ourselves the same thing. But at the core of our reason is that we are very, very certain that God called us to go to the native Palauan and take the gospel to them.
Mulus, 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 mulus. Antin kau nga? Trying to get a hold of Mylan's husband again, the patient we saw last night, the pregnant girl. To see how she's doing. They didn't call during the night. Mulus, 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 mulus. Antin kau nga? Amba kay si Mylan. I don't know if that's him or not. And now we're getting ready to go see some other patients way up on the mountain.
There's this lady. She comes up and she said, my daughter's really, really sick. I mean, we got to get her to the clinic. I can't get her there. She's so sick, she can't walk, she can't do anything. And so I said, well, just a minute, let me check around. I'll find somebody and we'll have a bucket. That's like a backpack that you can carry people in. And so I started asking, and everybody has an excuse. I got to work in my field. No, we've got to go there. We got everybody. I mean, no matter who I ask, you know, oh no, that's impossible. We can't do that. And I was getting really frustrated because this kid's really sick and they're way in the jungle. And finally I just said, well, okay, nobody's going to help. And I'm going to go up there. I don't know what I can do. I don't know if I can get her back. We head on up and the trail is just horrible. At one point I'm walking along. Dirt is just falling away, and I mean one misstep and you're down that thing. And I finally get there about noon, and I go into this little nipa hut that's about 6 feet by 6 feet, and in that little tiny nipa hut there's 6 children, and 4 of them are sick, and 2 girls, both teenagers. They're so sick, the one, she can't even lift her head up. I got the bucket and I said, okay, well, let's get the girl into it. I hope she lives until we get to the clinic. And I walk out the door and there's Maliling. Maliling is not a Christian, but he's taking Bible studies, and he'd heard that we were needing somebody, and he'd made that hike all the way up there just to help. And I thought, man, that is what a Christian is. It was so steep. I mean, every step I took, I was grabbing for something to hold on to because it was just really, really tough, and it was hot. And fortunately, Maliling, when it got really bad, he'd take over when I was falling too many times, and I'd follow, and you know, I'd keep asking, well, is she still alive? Anyway, it was 3 hours. It took us that long to get her back to the clinic. But her sister was almost as sick as she was. Well, the next day, we sent the father back. We said, you light a fire when you're ready. Then they appraised both of them to see what condition they were later in the day because they were so sick. Turns out that Milka had measles, malaria, and pneumonia. And Tika, she had 3 different diseases too. Anyway, they were in pretty bad shape, but a few days later I was down there to visit them, and I walk into the hospital, and of course they're really, really shy, especially down there, really shy. And they're real mountain people, so they're much more shy than the people around here. And I was talking with her mom, and Milka wouldn't look at me, but you know, toward the end she looked up at me and she smiled. And that one smile was that's just worth it all, because it's just knowing that you made a difference. You know, that she very well could have been dead if we hadn't done anything. And it was 3 hours crawling through the jungle, somebody on your back.
One kid, he's a teenager, he's been sick for months and months, just whole body swelling like he couldn't even see. Here's just huge, big stomach in his eyes and his face. And Mrs. George had been visiting him and eventually sent him out to the hospital. And they found some kidney problems, and I'm not sure what else. I need to review his chart.
The clinic is a busy little place. We see over 5,000 patients a year. We have the ability, and often do, have patients hooked up to IVs. May have patients with an acute or chronic situation where they're needing to be under daily care for weeks at a time.
We have a lot of daily patients as well, oftentimes 10. IVs and meds, and taking so much time with them, and then also seeing these daily patients that are coming, but they're really good experiences.
Working in the clinic is hard. You're giving of yourself all the time. And some days, many days, it seems humanly impossible to keep up the pace. The demand is huge. Other days, fortunately, you get a little reprieve.
Our medicines are, mostly we get them from Manila, from the drug suppliers. They're very expensive, probably even more expensive than the States slightly, but to ship them from the States would cost, more. So as far as where the money comes from, basically all donations, they come from donations. So this side of the clinic, we do med preparations, and we keep some of our medications, but it's just too small, so it doesn't all fit. On the other side is lab and procedure room, and we also keep some more medications in here. Any kind of, dental work, any kind of minor surgeries we do in here. And we keep extra medications, that won't fit in here. We keep it in that hut over there, which is falling apart. We're in the process of building a new clinic, which is desperately needed.
Our clinic is pulling in patients from all over southern Plowin. We have people that hike, from within the mountains, 6 or more hours. We have had people that have hiked further than that. They get kind care, they get quality care. We try to take their cases seriously and do the right thing by them, try to follow up with them, and it's completely free. We don't charge them anything.
There's one old man that they think is about 80 years old, and he can't walk anymore, and he's just really miserable, but it's really cool because he's basically, like last week when I went to visit him, I hadn't seen him for like 5 years. He said, when I going wrong with them and stuff. And he really was very receptive. So I'm going to visit him again today.
It is through the clinic, it's through the relationships that I built when I was the sole caregiver. I think that has laid the foundation for what we do there and people's trust in what we do. They know that we're not God, we make mistakes, but that we are there for them and that we have a God that is there for them. And they trust us.
Buat mo menung benar, Alma. Ano natin?
Taruh, lamtan.
That's beeswax. Aba, Daniel. Manunga Mariklam. Consuli was the place where, I mean, it was across the river. It was everybody went to get drunk, everything like that. I just felt this, I don't know why, but on Sabbath I'd go there and I'd hold a meeting, and it was just, oh, it was horrible because there'd be people who would come to meetings, but I mean, they were yelling and shouting and screaming, and you wonder, are these guys listening? There's one time I stopped in the middle of my sermon, right in the middle of a sentence, because nobody was listening, and nobody even knew the difference. You know, every Sabbath I'd come home and I'd say, oh man, I heard, you know, that I needed to go there. And I kept going and going and going. And over a period of 4 years, 5 years, I kept doing that. Consuli is a totally different place now. I often think, what if I had decided, no, I'm not going to go there, I don't feel like going. If I'd gone by my feelings, what you see there would have never happened. And this is Nixon right here. Nixon, this is our first teacher here. He started out the year with close to 70 students, and he was the only teacher. Send down, ikaw. Ikaw, send down. He's 17 years old.
Nixon is another interesting story. When we first came, he would have been 4 years old. When I was giving Bible studies to my kids, Nixon joined in, and they were actually baptized together. And I've had opportunity through all these years to nurture Nixon and be a mom to him because he doesn't have a mom. His mom died probably when he was 8 or 9.
When we started the school last year, we weren't even ready to do it, but we went ahead anyway. And we had about 30 students, and we had Nixon here. And I mean, we just started out from bare bones scratch, and it grew that year. It went really well. And then this year, it just went up to 70 students.
Tiban. Batag lima. Lima ano to? Kalau si Durin surat.
It's been just really exciting to see his growth. He started teaching. He also went away to high school for 1 year and has come back. He has natural teaching skills.
Ano sunod kasi, Muri?
But spiritually, it's been exciting to be able to mentor him, watching as he's struggling and going down and coming alongside and saying, Nixon, I want to lift you up to the Lord again. And watching him coming back, being on fire, and wanting to take that message to his people. And he came to just staying over there, a little tiny room off the school that was built over there. There's, you know, tens of 20s of them that sleep there most every night so they can have worship with him in the evening, worship with him in the morning. And then he teaches all day, does literacy training afternoons, Bible studies with people. 17-year-old kid. And he was the sole missionary that was over there. And watching what that did for him spiritually has been really, really incredible.
The people here, they couldn't even write their own name. They couldn't even sign their name. They couldn't read. They couldn't, I mean, they didn't even know rudimentary math. You know, if they went to the lowlands to do a business, buy something, they could get ripped off because nobody was, you know, nobody knew that kind of thing.
Yeah, what you got?
Oba, Iba, Obi, Abu, Abu, Ibu.
I mean, I can't help but just sit there and watch all the kids, and you just, I mean, just, man, you feel so, so proud of them. You know, it's just so incredible to see this happening. Because a couple years ago, this village is where he came to get drunk. That was the only thing it was notorious for. Is you get here at 10 o'clock in the morning, everybody's drunk. you could plan on it. So what a change. This domain, this land here has become God's land. The devil claimed it before, but he's being driven out. And it's just so neat to see that happening. God has grown everything. I mean, now we have a school here that has 30 students. Every morning as I see the students walking to school, I mean, they're just so happy to be going to school. And you know, they get 2 good meals a day, and we have an agriculture program.
And it is through the school that they first really got in touch with the Lord, became converted, became Adventist, and they in turn are put to work. Teachers, pastors, nurses' aides, whatever.
What we found out is that you put a Palawano as a teacher, and it teaches them incredible leadership qualities. It teaches them how to preach, it teaches them how to teach, it teaches them all sorts of things. And so actually, by putting them in as a teacher, it's actually giving them more of an education.
We mentor them all the time. We're developing materials for them to teach from in Palauan. Everything is in the Palauan dialect. So our goal through the school is to raise up more and more leaders that can go further and further out. We've got Nixon and Consoli, but what about Nurahongan, and what about on the other side of the mountain? Us.
You know, most people don't think about darkness unless we're in it. Darkness is a place of shadows and fears, of things unknown. It's a place where we go to hide. A place where we wonder who's out there. It's a place of uncertainty. In John chapter 8, verse 12, Jesus declares, "I am the light of the world." So when God steps into the picture, light dispels darkness. Life destroys death. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness. Have you ever wondered why the Bible spends so much time talking about light and darkness? Jesus said, "You are the light of the world." Will you go and bring the light to the people God loves?
We're heading to the lowlands, so good trail. You want a day that's cloudy, and a little rain is nice too because it keeps you cool. Because when you hike these trails, when you get to your destination, you'll be totally drenched, either with sweat or with rain, and I prefer rain. So, and I'll put these guys in charge. They're in charge of everything while I'm gone, and they'll make sure that everything goes right. Right, Dickie Ball? You got you both down at Genson, huh?
We got a message through one of our Bible students. She was preparing for baptism. She and her husband had been in the lowlands, and she came in and she said, the people in Mollis are are really, really interested. They want somebody to come down. You know, they hear about all of our groups going out to, you know, other villages in the Sabbath afternoons, and they're like, you know, they'd like somebody to come and tell them too. And we're like, Mollis, I mean, that's not only down the hill, that's a drive as well. And apparently people know what goes on in Camantian. And she said, they like what's going on in Camantian. You know, people are cleaner, healthier, they're happier. And we know it's, you know, it's because of the church. So they want that too. They want to learn about God. So we said, wow, that's cool. Seemed like the opportune time to just send a group out. And from that point on, every Sabbath, been sending a group down. Started out just meeting in somebody's, just outside their house, squatting on the dirt. But within 2 weeks, they had a nice big porch. And then within a few months, they're like, could you maybe give us some nails and we'll build a church? We don't even have a church built in Camantian. We're still meeting in the school. And we're like, well, sure, we can give you nails. So they've built themselves a little structure there in Mollis, and that's where they're meeting. 30, 50 people come every Sabbath. After about a year, can we have Bible studies?
We've just started Bible studies down there. So here they have a church, they're already meeting, and no baptized members, just Bible studies.
As we were going through, coming off the mountain, you pass a village, go out to the main road, drive down to Mollis. So every Sabbath, our truck from Brooks Point was going out there, picking up the missionaries that were going to go out to Mollis, passing this village. The neighborhoods from those villages would just pile into the truck. Well, this is cool, you know, ride in the truck and then get to ride back and see another village to boot. So they all going in there week after week, week after week, week after week, and Bing Belong, this other village, is like, what about us? Oh, you want one too? Okay, so stop there, have a service with them, then they'd go on to Mollis, have a service with them, get back to the trailhead, often after dark, have to hike all the way back into the dark, call us about 9 o'clock. Mentoring these people. So now, yes, Mollis has built themselves a little church, and Bing Belong has now said, can we have some nails and we'll build ourselves a little church too. Besides the church, we're nurturing 3 Palauan pastors. We're nurturing them to be pastors. At this point, they call themselves Morinuk pastor. They're very humble, and they don't want to say we are pastors. They're just like pretend pastors. They're like little pastors. So we're constantly developing them as leaders, freeing them from their culture enough that they're willing to go out. We are not trying to westernize them, but we don't want them to have the tie, that they're free to make godly decisions is really what it comes down to. They're free to leave behind the cultural chains of animism, go out into another area, minister to people, and raise up another church. We envision that there will be many, many daughter churches that come out of this. We currently have 3 that are actually being
I mean, we have no end of things that we can do to just expand and grow. And so where it ends, I don't know. I don't know. It's in God's hands. It's His baby. But it's just exciting to be a part of the whole thing.
being a missionary is, I don't know how to say, it's kind of like where the rubber meets the road. You get right down to what's the purpose of your life. And your life is to be of service. Your life is to give of yourself. Die to self every day and let Christ live in you and through you. And everything that you do is saying whether He's there or He's not.
We don't just come and we just sort of baptize people and leave. We don't just come and hand out some clothes and leave. We come and these people become our people. We become one of them. They're our family. Of course you want the best for them. Of course, heaven wouldn't be the same if they weren't there.
There is nothing like working for the Lord and being beyond your extremity to having flatly rely on God's strength, His wisdom, His grace. And we find ourselves in that situation. It isn't always clear what we need to be doing. And I don't believe it is for most Christians. We live in the fog a lot, but we believe in the light, and it's there. And God just continues to just draw us forward, draw us forward, draw us forward.
If you really want to make a difference, just commit your total life to God. And just say, God, wherever you want me, that's where I want to be. And come to a place like this and become one. Become one of these people.
Adventist Frontier Missions.
Reaching the unreached.